Hey everyone, glad to see you again. We finally got it, and I think this is how all electric cars will be made from now on. It's the right thing to do. To begin, both the front and back of the car are made from a single piece of metal. To do this, we ordered the biggest casting machine that has ever been made, and it is now running at our Fremont plant. It's pretty cool that this machine makes the whole back of the car out of a single piece of high-pressure die-cast metal. We had to make our own metal for this to work. It's important for molds, especially big ones, that the alloy doesn't need to be coated or heated before it can be used. When you heat treat a big casting later, it tends to change shape. Tesla is one of the few automakers outside of China that has been able to make money making electric cars. The company is known for its cutting-edge technology and efficient ways of making things. This accomplishment comes at a time when people around the world want EVs to be more cheap. Tesla was the first company to use a method called megacasting or gigacasting, which could change the way electric cars are made forever. This method cuts down on the number of parts that need to be put together, which makes EVs lighter, cheaper, and easier to make. At first, a lot of people didn't trust Tesla's plan and thought the company was new to making standard cars. But Tesla quickly showed that its methods worked, and since then, the industry has used these new ideas. Please show your support by liking and subscribing to our station before we go into it more. Hi, and welcome to Tesla Stock News. Let's move on now. To stay competitive, other big automakers are doing what Tesla did and putting a lot of money into similar technologies. Ford, for example, is said to have lost $130,000 on every electric vehicle (EV) it sold in the first 3 months of this year. This shows how hard it is for other businesses to make the switch to more efficient production methods. When we look at the bigger picture, it's clear that Tesla's strategies are causing a shift in the whole car business, forcing others to come up with new ideas and change quickly. The global market for die casting, which is an important part of these manufacturing processes, is expected to grow a lot. By 2032, it's expected to have grown by 70%, hitting $126 billion. The auto industry is going through a possible revolution right now, with Tesla leading the way with megacasting technology, a way of building cars that could greatly change how they are made. Tesla keeps pushing this method by using high-pressure molds to make big parts of cars out of molten metal. This speeds up both the making process and the design of the cars. While it's clear that GV casting has benefits, like making vehicles smaller and more CO2 efficient, it also has some problems. It might not be possible for mass-market vehicles to use this technology because it is very expensive to buy and needs to be made in big quantities. But for businesses that make this much, investing in GV casting technology could be life-changing, giving them a big cash boost and a competitive edge. In cars like the Model Y, Model 3, Tesla was one of the first companies to use this technology. Instead of dozens of smaller parts, they used a single large cast, which made assembly easier and cut down on vehicle weight. People were skeptical of this new way of doing things at first, but Tesla has been able to lower production costs and complexity. This change isn't just about technology, it's also about how the automotive business works as a whole. Traditionally, automakers have been slow to adopt new technologies. This is often because of bureaucratic resistance and a desire to stick to what has always been done. However, as Tesla continues to shake up the market, other businesses are being forced to rethink how they make things or risk falling behind. In a broader sense, GV casting is more than just a new technology. It's a test of how well the auto business can come up with new ideas and change with the times. It's still not clear if other makers will be able to adapt to these changes or will stick to old ways of doing things. Tesla has already set a high standard for other companies to follow, so the answer could change the way cars are made. GV casting, a revolutionary way of making things that Tesla uses a lot, is changing the auto industry by making it possible to make big car parts out of molten metal. This method is especially helpful for electric cars, EVs, with heavy battery packs because it makes the vehicle much lighter overall. Aluminum has been used for a long time to make cars use less gas, even gasoline cars. As an example, Ford cut the weight of its F-150 by 15% by making the body out of metal, but aluminum costs more than steel. It helps close the price gap by making parts that are about 30% less expensive than pressed aluminum parts, but still about 50%. Even though these costs are higher, Tesla thinks that the benefits of less weight and fewer parts make the investment worth it. With the help of GV casting improvements and better batteries, Tesla has been able to make cars 10% lighter, 14% longer range, and with 370 fewer parts. Most car companies say that their plans to use megacasting technology are still in the early stages. Because traditional automakers are so formal, this slow pace shows how resistant the industry is to fast innovation. Volvo, for example, has put a lot of its $1 billion investment into a new plant in Sweden so that it can improve its megacasting powers. The business knows that the initial investment is big, but the long-term benefits, like being able to make more product upgrades and improvements over the life of a car, are priceless. Tesla's way of making cars is changing the business in a way similar to how Henry Ford changed manufacturing with the assembly line. Tesla starts with big GV castings, then adds parts, paints them, and finally puts them together in a flexible way. This method not only makes putting things together easier, but it also makes the workplace much smaller. Tesla says that Volvo has accepted this new technology by putting gigapresses in its new plant in Tanda, Sweden, and in a facility in Slovakia. This shows that Volvo is seriously committed to making all-electric vehicles. Big companies like Ford, General Motors, Toyota, Hyundai, and Nissan are also looking into this technology, which shows how important it is becoming in the industry as a whole. Even though the cars are being embraced with open arms, Tesla has been hit with news that it may have to delay or even cancel its plans to cast the underbody of its next-generation cars in one piece. But on its earnings call for the first quarter, Tesla made it clear that while new models would use parts of the next-generation platform, they would be added to current production lines to increase output to about 3 million units per year without building any new factories. This method shows how flexible Tesla's strategy is and how committed they are to making production more efficient with little capital investment. Tesla's shift toward autonomy, shown by the success of full self-driving SSD version 12, addresses worries about the company's direction. This shift is in line with the company's changes to how it makes cars. Putting together self-driving technology with high-tech manufacturing methods like GV casting is seen as a smart way to improve both the production and usefulness of vehicles. There are, however, some problems with GV casting. Studies show that very big castings may be heavier than sheet metal ones, which could lead to higher rates of scrap. Tesla deals with this problem by pointing out that metal can be recycled, which means that old parts can be melted down and used again. This reduces waste and promotes sustainability. Vehicles with large cast parts are even harder to fix because they have bigger parts. Some high-end automakers like BMW and Volkswagen are worried that customers won't accept repairs that involve large cast parts. Tesla, on the other hand, is taking these worries seriously by working together closely with its design and crash repair teams. The business has made progress in making auto fixes faster and cheaper. Design improvements have made it easier and faster to replace broken parts, which is helped by the fact that Tesla combines insurance and repair services. Volvo is carefully introducing GV casting over a long period of time. First, it is adding large aluminum cast parts to its cars, like the EX90, and then it is moving on to bigger projects like the rear floor. This careful method helps lower risks and improve the process by learning and changing little by little. Meanwhile, other big automakers are still just starting to think about this technology. This shows how slowly the industry is adopting such innovative ways of making things compared to Tesla. In a wider sense, Tesla is still at the cutting edge of new ways to make cars, as shown by its plans to improve production lines so that they can make about 3 million units a year. Many people thought that Tesla was going to stop making its next-generation vehicles in modular manufacturing system, but this method uses existing facilities and doesn't require a lot of new capital. Tesla's ability to keep adding new manufacturing facilities shows how flexible it is and how much it wants to stay ahead in car technology. People are still arguing about the pros and cons of gigacasting, especially when it comes to weight and scrap rates. Even though bigger parts might make things a little heavier and cause more scrap, The fact that aluminum can be recycled lessens most of the negative effects on the earth and the cost. In addition, Tesla has streamlined its repair processes, which makes it much faster and cheaper to fix cars with big cast parts. As Tesla uses gigacasting more in its production, it wants to not only make manufacturing simpler but also change the way things are usually put together on an assembly line. In some ways, this change is similar to the one Henry Ford started with the assembly line, which made making cars more efficient and scalable. In today's video, we talked about how gigacasting has changed everything. This new method, which was created by Tesla, claims to change the way cars are built by making them lighter and using more efficient methods. Companies like Volvo are slowly putting this technology into their products, starting with parts like the EX90's rear floor and slowly using it in more areas. As the industry moves toward electric cars, it's important for companies to start using these technologies right away. However, many standard automakers are still just starting to plan. While Tesla keeps coming up with new ideas and applying these improvements to its production lines in order to double its output with little additional cost, the question still stands: will other automakers be able to catch up to Tesla's advanced ways of making cars? What might gigacasting mean for the way the auto business designs and makes cars in the long term? And how